Alright, first up on the show, let's put the spotlight on Evera. With e-vehicles becoming all the rage and EVs really dominating, Adani TotalEnergies E-Mobility has actually planned to set up EV charging infrastructure. This is in partnership with an all-electric cab aggregator, which is Prakriti E-Mobility, which runs Evera. Let's connect then with Nimish Trivedi. He's the co-founder and CEO at Evera. Good to have you on board, and this is certainly going to be pretty game-changing for the company. Take us through the details of this tie-up and what exactly it means for Evera.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And surely, I think it's a lot of excitement for us here. That too, as a startup, to be partnering with one of India's largest conglomerate, Adani, along with TotalEnergies, to build up EV charging stations pan-India basis. So here we have actually done up a pilot with Adani Total earlier during the year in March 23, where we set up close to about 50 charging stations here in Okhla and New Delhi. So which was a small pilot where we understood each other, understood the nuances of the business, and then finally panned out this bigger picture where we said that yes, we can now look at expanding and going bigger together. And here we are now talking of a much more bigger hub, super hub near Delhi International Airport, which will have close to about 200 charging stations. And from there on, we take this journey on a pan-India level.
So now, given that Adani TotalEnergies and Evera are going to enable this infrastructure on a revenue sharing model, can you take us through how exactly that's going to work?
Yeah, so the revenue share model agreed with ATEL is a win-win model for both of us, where partners like us will be capitalizing on each other's core strength. I cannot really reveal much more details about the revenue sharing as of now, but yes, it will be primarily focused on ensuring that we leverage on each other's core strengths.
So when exactly do you think that with this partnership it's going to be scaled up pan-India that will actually encourage decarbonized mobility?
Now, this partnership really gives us a huge opportunity to catapult our growth along with Adani and TotalEnergies. And what we really now look at is with an aggressive plan to be present in major cities pan-India in the next 3 years. With the government supporting decarbonizing and greenifying the Indian ecosystem, I'm sure with this new partnership, we will be able to move much more faster and have a far more deeper presence pan-India very quickly.
So currently, how many EV charging points do you have?
So along with ATEL, we have 50 charging stations, which is in Okhla, as I mentioned earlier, in New Delhi. And overall, as a company, we have about close to 100 charging stations. But with ATEL, we've got 50 right now.
So tell us a little bit more about how the company is running currently in terms of what your financial position is. Are you currently profitable? What's your overall revenue run rate? How have you been scaling up year on year?
Yeah. So if you really look at it, we are primarily a B2B and a B2C company. So we do B2C from Terminal 3 in Delhi Airport, which is an airport service, app-based service, where one destination has to be airport. So that's one part of the business that we do. And the other part of the business is largely on B2B, where we do employee transport, business transport. So that's how the model is structured right now. Now, on the growth trajectory, as we were looking at partnering with someone big like Adani for the charging station, because that being the necessity for us to grow. Having this partnership in place will now help us plan company's expansion more quickly and more fast.
What about how you're dealing with competition? Because now there are quite a few players that have emerged within what was otherwise a fairly niche space. So how do you plan to take on competition, retain your market share, in particular with this tie-up?
Yeah, I mean, there are two points to this thing. One, I really very strongly believe that there's no competition, so to say, at least in the geography that we are sitting in right now in Delhi NCR. where you've got over 300,000 vehicles probably flying as taxis, and with EVs strength maybe just under 5,000 or something around that number. I'm speaking under correction. So, given the market size that is available right now and the presence of EV operators, there's a huge opportunity for probably a couple of more players to have find space here and make the best in the market. Two, yes, with this partnership, it will really help us grow faster because a larger bit of running the company is taken care by having a proper charging infra in place.
All right. Let's just also take the clock back and understand how exactly the company came about, because I understand that you, much like many of us, were availing the use of these ride-hailing apps, but you didn't find anything that really quite suited the environment. So was it just an aha moment one day whilst you were riding? How did it even come about?
No, so it was a bit different. I also have a solar power company by the name of Vyom Power Private Limited, which does solar rooftop. So in 2019, there was a huge push from the government to create charging infra. And that is where we went back to the drawing board, contemplating that whether we can do a completely green charging infra. However, at that point in time, we didn't find the business that exciting, primarily of reasons of uh, cars not being available. But that is where we saw an opportunity that maybe we can try and become an Ola and Uber of electric. So that's where the entire thing started, given the fact that Delhi was always reeling under pressure of environment, and winters used to be bad, and there was a lot of talk about how we can save the environment and breathe properly. So that's where we thought that maybe we can have a service which is purely focused on electric, and also takes care of little challenges that you have with the current players, is a cancellation, no surge. So you have a ride which is assured, you don't have a surge pricing, so you have a fixed price to go on, and you have proper trained drivers because we have our drivers in house, so there's no dependency on a third party, so to say, that who will accept the ride or not. So our app itself doesn't really allow a driver to cancel the ride. So that's where we started off this journey, and here we are. And very little we had in our minds that we'll be working back again onto the charging infra at this level.
So, given the fact that, we are on the path of seeing rising EV demand, it's still a stage where charging infrastructure is a bit scant. What are your views? Do you think that now, with the perception changing, with a lot more bigger players entering the fray, that we are likely to see things change?
Now, when reputed industry leaders like Adani and TotalEnergies are working with us, I really don't see that as a challenge for us in terms of having a proper charging infra available. Two, I think the other aspect, apart from ride hailing, is on people who own EVs would largely be charging at their home. So charging infra necessity for fleet operator, like we look at intercity and we want to go out, yes, there'll be huge potential to develop charging stations across the highways as well.
All right. Thanks so much, Nimish, for joining in, and all the very best with that tie-up.